Hi everyone and welcome to Coral Gables Television Studios. I'm Ileana Menendez and this is Coffee Talk. Art is so important here in the City Beautiful and we've had many different projects throughout the years, and joining us today is Catherine Cathers, Arts and Culture Specialist here for the city. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So Catherine, Coral Gables is one of the regional cities to offer a grant program supporting local nonprofit cultural programming as well as a public art program. Can you tell me a little bit more about this?
Sure. We're very fortunate to have a cultural grant program, one of the few smaller municipalities that has one in addition to the county. And so we have about, right now, close to $200,000 that we offer to different arts organizations that are presenting everything from full-scale theater productions to film and festivals, music, dance, all the arts. They happen throughout the year. Right now we have about 30 to 35 organizations that we offer grant funding to.
So there have been many art installations, as I said, throughout the years. Can you tell me about some of the previous ones?
Sure. Right now there's actually an exhibition that's in City Hall on the second floor. There are large-scale photographs of just a selection of pieces from the public art collection, but they give an overview of the history of the collection and how it's developed in Coral Gables over the years. You'll also find some information there about the historic fabric, the sister cities, donations, temporary artworks, the acquisitions that are permanent acquisitions to the city, and our art and public places and private development. We have everything from the very popular Old Shoes sculpture by Hector Lombana over at the Cartagena Plaza. That was a donation from the sister city of Cartagena, and is a very beloved piece by the residents. And then we have the newer works. For example, we have the Hank Willis Thomas 4 public art benches that are throughout the city in different parks, and also 22 artwork signs that are along Miracle Mile for about 2 blocks. Those will be up just temporarily through the winter months, and then we'll deinstall them and put them up in the winter months again. There is a new sculpture that we acquired that's on the plaza of City Hall by David Hayes, and new public art on Giralda Plaza. I could go on and on. We have a lot, yeah.
What I've noticed is I love art, especially with Art Basel being here in South Florida. All of these artists have such an amazing background. You know, their Instagram accounts and their social media, the projects that they've done, many throughout the world, are unbelievable. So the fact that their work is displayed here in the city of Coral Gables, where we have the honor of being, is just amazing.
Yes, we're very fortunate.
So as far as some of the current art installations, can you tell me a little bit more about some of them? I know that we have the benches that are permanent now by Hank Willis Thomas, so what's going on with that?
Yes, so those were originally temporary, and for the past 3 years we've been fortunate enough to have the recognition of Art Basel, and during Miami Art Week, in coordination with that, we've been doing exhibitions that have then turned into permanent acquisitions. So they start out temporary, but we've loved the artwork so much that we've decided to acquire them permanently into our collection. So the Hank Willis Thomas pieces are a great example of that. We're looking for permanent homes for those benches, so some of them may remain where they are and some of them will move on to other locations. And as I said, the artwork signs are out on Miracle Mile. Those will be taken down and annually put up during the winter months.
Talking about art that we love, the Venetian Post is one of my favorites. I know that you guys just took some to the Venetian Pool, which is amazing. Can you tell me a little bit about those?
We did. We worked with a lot of local and regional artists on that project. We have 33 posts originally that were painted, all hand painted by artists. And many of them went into private collections, and there's a selection of about 11 that we retained, and those are currently installed over at the Venetian Pool. And it's interesting because when they were out in the downtown area, and there's still a few that have been privately acquired that are still in the downtown area, but they were very, I think, very visible, and anywhere that you would go downtown, you would see them. Now we have this smaller collection, but they're all in one place. And they're surprises. They're almost not even.
They blend in.
Yeah, they blend in. But, so they're really lovely surprises, and they're such a great fit for that location. The Venetian Post at the Venetian Pool, They're all very elegant and colorful, and I think they look really fabulous. So I encourage people to seek them out there.
Yeah, definitely a perfect Instagram photo location. So these art pieces don't appear out of nowhere. There has to be a process behind it. What goes on behind the scenes as far as choosing these ideas and like the vision for them?
So we have an arts advisory panel, which is made up of arts professionals, and that panel gets together. They do the initial review of the proposals when they come in, and then they make a recommendation to our Cultural Development Board, which recommends to the City Commission. Our City Commission always has the final say on any of our public art projects. We do, through our guidelines, are associated with the Art in Public Places program, has about 4 different ways that we can acquire artworks. One of them is a direct selection of an artist, which is what we've typically been following for our Miami Art Week projects. And then we also can do an RFQ, which is a request for qualifications. It's a broad call for artists and their background. So we're looking for artists that have professional experience, education, have a resume of having shown work elsewhere, as well as artists that are emerging and they're up and coming, but we can already see that trajectory of them as a career level professional artist. So they submit their qualifications. We narrow that down to a shorter list that we feel is a good match for whatever the opportunity is. And then that shorter list of artists actually do a proposal submittal. So the city follows those processes and those different methods for acquiring artwork, as well as our private developers.
So it's a very detailed process that goes on.
Yes.
And how often does the city pick new projects?
Well, we have our annual Miami Art Week associated with Art Basel. We have that as a temporary annual exhibition opportunity. Right now we are doing the Giralda Sky, the piece that's out on Giralda. This is our first time that we're actually commissioning and working professional artists to do a piece out there. And I'll talk more about that in just a moment. And then other than that, it's mostly driven by new development projects. So our Art in Public Places and private development is a great driver for new public artwork in this city, as well as the city itself. However, we don't have as many new development projects, of new construction projects as our private developers do. But when they come up, that's when those opportunities are for permanent pieces.
So before we get into the new Giralda project, I want to talk a little bit about the installation process. We have big art installations and smaller ones. For the bigger ones, how does that work?
They can either be, most of the time they're fabricated off-site in a private studio, and then they're brought on-site. Occasionally they're kind of constructed on-site as well. It just depends on what the project is. So for example, the pieces that are out on Giralda Plaza by Sybil Posh, she is Italian and Swiss. Those pieces were sculpted by hand by Sybil Posh in Italy, and over a course of many, many months. Once those pieces were completed, they were shipped in their complete whole state across the seas. They came over on a cargo ship and were installed with a very large crane. They were, I think one of them is over 5 tons. I don't recall the exact weight of them offhand, but they really require heavy equipment and a lot of pre-planning. These installations are not something that just happens overnight. There's a lot of time and detailed information that goes into the planning and the actual installation of the pieces. As the city, we constructed the foundations ahead of time, so once the pieces were here, they were ready to go on site and immediately install them, and were able to do the installation within 2 days.
It's a team effort.
Team effort, absolutely.
So now the biggest question, what's next? What's coming next to the city?
Well, as I said, the new artwork out on Giralda Plaza, it's titled Sun Stories by Jessie Knight. And she competed against artists from all over the country. She won that competition and award to do Sun Stories. The piece is going to be constructed of about 4,000 letters.
Wow.
They are thick, colored acrylic, different phrases related to the area, Coral Gables, South Florida. There's even a poem that is throughout the phrases that you can look for. The title, Sun Stories, actually relates to how the piece is working and envisioned by the artist, where on the brightest, sunniest days, light will shine through the acrylic and you'll be able to see the shadows from those letters reflected on the paver, and you'll be able to read the words on the pavement. So she's also going to engage the community with a few other projects, so those are surprises you can keep an eye out for, but different ways that the community can really become more involved with that particular artwork. It's very exciting.
And how long is this project expected to last?
It would be up for about 3 months. So that's just one of the many projects. Of course, we'll have another Art Basel exhibition coming up, and also we're currently working on this selection of artwork to present to the Commission for the new public safety building. And we are also happy that we have about 6 projects that have already been approved by Commission for our private development projects. So we have a lot going on right now.
A lot of exciting things happening.
Very exciting.
So
yeah.
where can our viewers go for more information as far as the public art program and the current art installations that we have throughout the city?
We have a dedicated webpage. It's at coralgables.com/publicart.
All right, Catherine, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you here in the studios.
Thank you, Ileana. It was great to be here.
All right. Well, guys, thank you for joining another edition of Coffee Talk. I'm Ileana Menendez. See you soon.